It's the Pacific Classic. It will be run at the purse of $1 million, which means this is our second back-to-back $1 million race that we've had for you in our Racing to the Breeders' Cup Series. It's a race for 3-year-olds and up, and the distance is the Breeders' Cup Classic distance of 1.25 miles. To meet the field for this year's Pacific Classic, the voice of Del Mar Racing, Trevor Denman.
Hard to believe, Bob, but this is my 15th year down at Del Mar. There's that old cliche, time always flies when you're having fun, and one always has a lot of fun down at Del Mar. As far as the track's concerned this afternoon, there is often that platitude that there's a track bias, but often that is just a myth that builds itself into a reality. I don't think there's any track bias at Del Mar this season. They've been winning from the front end, they've been winning from the middle, and some of them have been coming from far back. What I do think is going to be a major factor this afternoon is the pace. A number of the major contenders like to be on or near the lead, and that could prove to be pivotal to the outcome of today's race. And then, of course, there's always Lady Luck. She's going to have her say in the outcome of this afternoon's result. Let's go right now and take a look at this afternoon's Pacific Classic field. What a powerful entry the 1 and 1A is today. They're both from Dick Mandela's barn. The Chilean-bred Puerto Madero will be coming from behind. Gentleman will be out there on the lead. Either one of them could win it. Number 2, another Argentinian-bred Lazy Load, will probably show speed today, but looks to be a notch below the top contenders. The 3 is Pacific Bounty with Eddie Dalahousie, surely a long shot today. Number 4, Touch Gold, perhaps the key to the race here. All the pressure is on jockey Pat Day. Can he stay just off the pace, but still not get himself boxed in, turning for home? Pat Day has a lot of responsibility, but Touch Gold has the class. The 5, Urton S, is really just shooting for the moon today. Number 6, Albahar. Julio Canani, the trainer, spins magic down here at Del Mar, but I don't even think Julio's magic can get Albahar home today. The 7 is the Grey Freehouse. What a hard-hitting individual he is. Perfectly matched with jockey Chris McCarron today. Freehouse is a major contender. And then another huge long shot down the bottom. Number 8, Don't Blame Rio. Really doesn't look to have any chance at all.
As the horses parade around in the beautiful paddock here at Del Mar, a look at the grand old man gentleman, 6 years old, bred in Argentina. By far the most accomplished horse in his field. He's pocketed a cool $3.1 million in purses. He's won 13 of 20. He's lost 3 of his last 4. And he looks to regain that luster with a big win here this afternoon. Of course, trained by Dick Mandela. And we've heard the term three-peat used in sports, particularly in reference to the Chicago Bulls a few years ago. Well, Mandela looks for the three-peat today because leg 1 was a smashing win. This was, of course, Dare and Go. The year 1996 at the expense of the Invincible Cigar. This win by Mandela and Dare and Go snapped Cigar's 16-race win streak. We'll be back. Or last Saturday, it was the Feast of St. Patrick. Jockey Pat Day and trainer Pat Byrne, and the horse, well, he was awesome again, winning the Whitney Handicap, beating Julie Crone and Taylor the Cat at Saratoga. Owner Frank Stronach on your left, Byrne on your right, enjoying that one. They might have a magnificent 2-horse entry in the Breeders' Cup Classic if Touch Gold and Awesome Again can continue their form. Awesome Again will likely face Skip Away. We'll have that race for you, the Islin at Monmouth on August 30th. Of course, at Monmouth, speaking of the Jersey Shore, Coronado's Quest, super impressive in Sunday's $1 million Haskell Invitational, as he was able to beat Belmont Stakes winner Victory Gallop, and that pair expected to meet again in 2 weeks' time at the Midsummer Classic of the East. That would be the Travers Stakes at the Spa on Saturday, August 29th, to be followed by a look at Skip Away as he will tackle all comers a day later at Monmouth. Let's go back to the paddock and Kenny Rice. Ken.
Thank you, Bob. You're taking a look at Freehouse. He is part of a controversy going on here in California racing. It revolves around a drug called clenbuterol. It is used on horses with respiratory problems. Now, it has been used for decades in Europe and Canada, but wasn't made legal here in the United States until back in May. And that is some of the problem right there. Several states like Kentucky and New York have already come up with ways of testing for this drug. They have a procedure where there is a 7-day withdrawal period. In other words, that horses shouldn't be using this drug 7 days prior to a race. It's a lot like Olympic athletes who are, say, on asthma medicine. They have to quit that before they get ready for their Olympic competition. But here in California, 20 horses or more have tested for this, including Freehouse, after he won the Bel Air Stakes. With me now is respected Californian veterinarian Dr. Vince Baker. Doctor, the question here would seem to be, it's not so much the drug itself, it's the testing procedures that they have in California at this time.
That's correct. In the other states in the United States, they test down to nanograms, which is 1/1 of a gram. And here in California on May 21st, they increase the sensitivity of their tests to picograms, and that's 1/1,000,000,000 of a gram. So therein it lays is that the withdrawal time in the United States, most parts have been 7 days. Here in California, we just haven't come up with a withdrawal time.
This is a drug that helps horses with breathing problems. Is it a performance enhancer?
Definitely not. It only helps the lungs in a diseased horse, whether that be asthmatic, whether it be allergies, or in a horse that's had a respiratory disease. It does not help a normal, healthy lung.
Dr. Baker, thank you so much for your time. We talked with owners John Toffin and Trudy McCaffrey, and also trainer Paco Gonzalez with Freehouse. Now, there's been a second test. The results of that second test haven't come in at this time, so they did not want to comment until the second test comes in on Freehouse. Bob, that's a story here at the paddock. Back to you.
And there's a look at the 4-year-old Freehouse. Won the Santa Anita Derby as a 3-year-old. He's the third wagering choice at 7-2 on the board. Some of the flavor here. Don't look at Touch Gold, son of Deputy Minister, 4-year-old, had his foot problems last year with Patrick Byrne training this horse this time around. This will be his second run this year. A sensational win at Churchill Downs in an allowance race a bit earlier on. This will be a sterner test. Well, tomorrow on ABC's
Pat Day. Pat, great effort at Churchill Downs. His only time out, it's a 1-turn mile. He does a 1:34. He looks great, and he trains well coming into this race.
We're expecting big things from him, certainly. He was a very proven commodity last year, had some problems, put him on the shelf. He came back strong this year. I think Pat Burns has just done a marvelous job of getting him prepared for this race, and like I said, we're expecting big things from him.
You have tactical speed in Touch Gold. Gentleman, you figure, is going to be out there. Freehouse also with similar tactical speed. How do you see this race shaping up, and where do you want to have him positioned early?
Well, you called it. Those two horses are the speed of the race, including myself. We're just going to break and see how it goes under the wire the first time. Wherever we're comfortable, depending on what the other two horses or the other horses in the race are doing. And we're just going to play it one jump at a time.
Pat Byrne has said that this is his horse of a lifetime, perhaps. Big statement. How do you feel about how good Touch Gold is and could be this season?
Well, like I said, he was a proven commodity last year. He's came back stronger and better than he was last year. He doesn't have the problems that he had last year, and so I certainly appreciate and respect Pat's assessment of horseflesh, and having been on him a couple of times, I'm quite impressed with him myself.
Pat, good luck to you today. Thanks. Pat Day, who is going to be riding Touch Gold, one of the favorites along with that Mandela entrant here today in the Pacific Classic.
And Touch Gold is on the odds board at 4-5. I don't know if that youngster is old enough to place a 2-year-old bet. One day we'll be back. Surprises. The entry of Puerto Madero and Gentlemen at 9-5. A little bit of a surprise. Thought they might be the favorite. Lazy Load's a long shot at 16-1, but look at the money on Touch Gold at 4-5. Our third choice is the 4-year-old Freehouse at 3-1. Well, we mentioned Touch Gold and his trainer Patrick Byrne. Byrne exploded on the scene last year. He won 36% of his races last year. Well, what's he done this year? He's won 36% of his races this year. Prior to the 1997 Breeders' Cup at Hollywood Park, trainer Pat Byrne was virtually unknown, but he came into racing's richest day with a phenomenal pair of 2-year-old contenders. The filly, Countess Diana, and the colt, Favorite Trick. Countess Diana gave Byrne his first Breeders' Cup victory, but it was the undefeated Favorite Trick who proved to be the showstopper. Favorite Trick became the first 2-year-old to be voted Horse of the Year since Secretariat. and Countess Diana captured her own divisional championship. But Byrne decided to sign an exclusive training agreement with Canadian horseman Frank Stronach, which meant Byrne had to give up his stable of champions, including his beloved favorite trick.
He's been wonderful for our, my wife and our daughter, and he was very much part of the family. It was very tough to give him up, but we've got a lot of things to look forward to, and we're very happy with our position.
Byrne should be happy. This year, he's had a string of successes for the Stronach stable, including last Saturday's win in the prestigious Whitney Handicap at Saratoga with Awesome Again. Today, he hopes for the same results here in the West Coast with Touch Gold, most remembered for upending Silver Charm's Triple Crown hopes in the '97 Belmont Stakes. On that day, Byrne was just a racing fan. Now, however, Touch Gold is in his charge. A foot injury forced Byrne to adjust Touch Gold's training schedule. But last month in his first race back, he debuted in smashing style with a track record performance at Churchill Downs. He was back in the game. With $1 million on the line in the Pacific Classic, the stakes are high, and everyone is waiting to see if Touch Gold is really ready.
I know there's a lot of people waiting to see this horse run, but I don't think anybody's more interested in seeing him run than I am. I can't wait to let him go on the gate and let him go out there and do his thing. I mean, he's just an unbelievable animal to be around, and I think it's going to be a hell of a horse race.
And there is a look at Touch Gold, 6 for 12, including the Haskell. He beat Freehouse last year as a 3-year-old. And his big win, of course, the Belmont Stakes, spoiling the Triple Crown hopes of Silver Charm. And there is Freehouse and Chris McCarron. And the issue with Freehouse today is the 1.25 mile distance. It was a little out of his scope last year as a 3-year-old. But presumably with a year of maturity under his belt, maybe the 1.25 mile distance will be more to his liking this year. He is a crowd favorite. He came back to the races in bang-up style in the Bel Air at Hollywood Park, and he is the third choice as the magical sounds bring the horses onto the track here at Del Mar. 9 of them, 8 betting interests, traveling 1.25 miles, and there is Gentleman under the colors of D. Hubbard, the high poobah of Hollywood Park, certainly a major threat. Most of the fans think it's down to 4 horses. The entry of Gentleman and Puerto Madero, Touch Gold, Freehouse. And there's some thoughts that Lazy Load might have a shot. He'll be ridden by Gary Stevens today. For more on Lazy Load, let's go back to Kenny.
Thank you, Bob. One man who thinks that Lazy Load has a good shot is trainer Wally DeLassy. Wally, how do you like him coming into this? You picked him up this year, and he's had a win and a second for you.
Well, he's done real well on the grass, and actually down in Argentina, he's only had 1 run on the grass and did poorly, and he did super in dirt racing. He was second in the Derby down there to a very fine horse called Chulo, and I just think he's going to run a big race here on the dirt.
He is the kind also that likes to come off the pace. You're certainly going to have enough speedsters out there setting a pace for you.
Oh, definitely. All the better horses actually that have the best form at the moment are on the front end or close to it, and I got a gutty feeling this guy's going to be right there at the end.
He's not the biggest horse out there, but he's been a real game horse and trained well for you, I understand.
Well, that's it. He's very intelligent. He rates beautifully. I had a good long talk with Gary Stevens this morning. We both felt to ride him almost exactly the same way. And we'll see what happens. I mean, we haven't tested him against this quality, but we know he's going to go the 1.25 miles for sure, because he can get 1.5 miles with the best. So definitely, we got things going for us, and maybe some of these other horses might back up at the 8th pole.
Good luck to you, Wally.
Okay,
thank you, Wally DeLassy, the man who trains Lazy Load. Some long shot players like him today to pull the upset here in the Pacific Classic. Bob?
And there's a good look at the horses as they parade before a huge throng here at Del Mar this afternoon. But again, they're looking at Touch Gold, they're looking at Freehouse, and the Mandela entry of Puerto Madero. And Gentlemen, more in a moment. This running of the Pacific Classic. Most of the money going on either the entry of Puerto Madero and Gentlemen. They're up there at 8 to 5. Touch Gold is the favorite at 6 to 5. Freehouse is the third choice. It's kind of where Freehouse was last year as a 3-year-old for more of his most of his Triple Crown races. He was kind of rated below Silver Charm and some of the others. He seems to always be in around that 3-to-1 mark, but he's there as the third choice with Chris McCarron riding. And speaking of McCarron, We have a musical jockey situations here, to be sure, as most of the horses have new riders this afternoon. And Gary Stevens, for example, he'd been riding Gentleman throughout most of his career. That's Gary, top left. McCarron, top right, had been riding Touch Gold as a 3-year-old, and Kent DeSomo in the bottom quadrant has been seen riding Freehouse and Lazy Load. That was before. But what about today? Oh, we see top left that Corey Nakatani. We covered that story. Has them out on Gentleman. Pat Day for Pat Byrne moves in place of McCarron on Touch Gold. So Chris, bottom left, takes over for DeSormo on Freehouse, while Lazy Load will be ridden by Gary Stevens. Here is Puerto Madero. He is entered with Gentleman here this afternoon, a 4-year-old bred in Chile. He's had 2 nice seconds to skip away. One in the Mass Handicap, another in the Hollywood Gold Cup. And in the Hollywood Gold Cup, Puerto Madero, spotlighted on the rail, will be ranging up on the inside. That skip away with Jerry Bailey on the lead. He had been engaged with Gentleman on his outside flank. At about the half-mile pole, Gentleman will tire, and Puerto Madero will finish second. That was a hot pace that day. What about today, Kent DeSormo?
Well, I think that there's certainly plenty of pace to keep the race honest. I think that the likes of Touch Gold will be worried about Gentleman, who will be worried about Freehouse. And if those 3 stay concerned with each other, because you can't give any one of those an easy lead. They'll just win. It'll be a donation of the race, and Mr. Hubbard has 2 of them involved in the race. I'm hoping that the other gentleman keeps the pace honest. In fact, hopefully goes to the lead. If he doesn't, at least keeps it honest, and therefore make an honest race for the horse that I ride, Puerto Madero.
Puerto Madero with Kent DeSormo aboard. Again, part of that Mandela entry, the second choice in the wagering here at the Pacific Classic, currently being held at 3-2 odds. As we are getting set, 5 minutes to the call of Trevor Denman and the Pacific Classic.
John Toffin, co-owner of Freehouse, is with me. John, how does everything look right now?
Well, it looks great right now. I mean, he's nice and relaxed, very calm. No, I just hope he runs big. I'm the one who's nervous. He's all right.
There's been a lot of talk on the backside this week about how well he's been training since coming off the big win in the Bel Air.
Yes, he has. He's been training just really awesome. Every time out, he just does it. He's been doing it very easy, so we're hopeful.
Good luck to you.
Thank you, Kenny.
Thank you. John Toffin, co-owner with Trudy McCaffrey of Freehouse. Back to you, Bob.
And there is a look at Freehouse, a California bred, always popular. Boy, racing fans love the Grays, and he was such a game competitor last year as a 3-year-old. Again, a smashing win in Hollywood. Can he get the 1.25 miles? Can he win today? Let's bring in a chat with Trevor Denman as the horses parade to post. And I know, Trevor, you like appearance handicapping. Tell me what your thoughts are on the favorite Touch Gold.
Well, Bob, if his looks are anything, Touch Gold is the winner this afternoon. He looks absolutely impeccable. 6-5 in the wagering. You'd like to get a little bit of better value for money in a race like this, but just look at him out there. His ears are pricked. He's so cool. He's been nibbling away on that pony as well, which I love to see them do. It shows that they really concentrate. There he's putting his head right over the pony's neck right now. That is one relaxed racehorse. His ears are taking everything in. He's almost looking into the grandstands now, starting to bounce as they come towards the gate. And Touch Gold looks absolutely magnificent. Freehouse looks well out there as well. Gentleman, he's kind of got a question mark. There's nothing wrong with him appearance-wise. There he is right there. I'd like to see him perk up just a little, but once those gates open, he's an old professional. He'll certainly come running. You see his ears starting to perk up now as he realizes, uh-oh, there's the starting gate. This means it's action time, guys. Let's get ready to go. But looks-wise this afternoon, Touch Gold is a standout. Freehouse looks well enough, and Gentleman, let's just see. He's an old-timer. He's probably not going to get too excited coming to the gate. We'll have a look on that tote board. 6-5 Touch Gold, 7-5 Gentleman, 3-1 Freehouse. Surely the winner will be one of those 3. Bob?
Trevor, they all have points to prove. Freehouse must prove he can win at 1.25 miles. Touch Gold must prove he's over those nagging foot ailments of a year ago. And I think Gentleman, Trev, has to prove that he's the gentleman of old. He's lost 3 of his last 4 races, always hammered at the windows, and with Skip Away waiting in the wings, I think there's questions about all of them. Puerto Madero even. Is he good enough himself to be competitive in the mix? He's certainly got a favorable pace situation in the Hollywood Gold Cup.
That's what makes this race so interesting. There are those question marks out there. I believe Touch Gold is over his problems. There were just those 2 awkward runs, but he won so well last time, and he's been training so well. I'm going to take a shot here and say Touch Gold problems are in the hit of history right now. He's back to his very best again. Gentlemen, as we say, he really is a question mark, because on his day, he is absolutely brilliant, as he was when he won this race last year. And then there's Freehouse, of course. You know he's going to hit hard. There's Touch Gold again in the black colors. You can see Pat Day just getting his glasses ready as they get down to the gate. The horses have now reached the starting gate. So they'll be going in momentarily right here, and let's see if these looks do count with Touch Gold. But looks are one thing. Of course, he's still got to get the great trip here. It's going to be very, very interesting to see just how this race sets up and what Pat Day is going to do. He's obviously going to be on the inside. Is Chris McCarron going to keep him bottled in down there, and he's going to struggle to find a run, or the front runner's going to come back? Let's say Lazy Load will be right in front of him. If he weakens around about the 5/16 and Pat Day can go around him with Touch Gold, it's all coming down now to just a question of racing luck. They are going in the gate right now.
All right, Trevor, this is the 8th running of the Pacific Classic. Another Calbred. Best Pal won the inaugural back in '91. Bertrando took this race in 1992, but Dick Mandela, of course, is looking for the three-peat, of course, with Darren Go, with Gentleman, and can he do it today with a 2-ply entry of Gentleman and Puerto Madero?
Well, they're rolling in the gate now for the $1 million Pacific Classic. 3/4 of the runners in. Coming up now is Gentleman on the outside. Now the grey Freehouse, and Chris McCarron will be second last to load. Freehouse comes forward, and the big long shot. Don't blame Rio to come to the outside gate. Don't blame Rio facing up a very well-behaved field. They're all standing dead still. Don't blame Rio's in. All set. There's the roar from the crowd. The $1 million Pacific Classic is sent on their way. The brave Freehouse breaks smartly in the center of the track. Urtaness, here's a surprise speed horse. Urtaness in the white blinkers goes up to lead them now. Right up alongside of Urtaness is another long shot, Albahar. So 2 long shots, Urtaness and Albahar. Surprise leaders early on. Gentleman races third. The grey is Freehouse. Back to Lazy Load, is taken back to 5th. Here's Pat Day on Touch Gold in the black colors. He's going to go through at the rail now. He's only 4 lengths off these leaders. Puerto Madero has been pushed along third last to try to keep in touch with the field. Don't blame Rio is second last, and Pacific Bounty is last. 12 lengths off the leaders. They head to the 3/4 pole, and it's the long shot. Urtaness just setting the early pace out here. He's followed by Ayala racing in second. In third is Gentleman. He's got the perfect spot early, and there's Freehouse on the outside and Touch Gold at the rail. The 3 contenders are all right there. Gentleman third, Freehouse the grey on the outside, and Touch Gold scraping paint in the black, only 2 lengths off the leaders, and that trio starts to inhale those 2 pacemakers as they head to the half mile. We come back another 4 to Lazy Load. Don't blame Rio. Puerto Madero's not happy today. He's been pushed along but doing nothing, and Pacific Bounty's last. Into the turn they go, and Gentleman's going to be the first to kick, and Gentleman kicks for home. Freehouse is going with him on the outside. Touch Gold in the black colours is back 4th, 4 lengths off the leaders. A 1/4 mile to run in the Pacific Classic, and here comes Freehouse with a huge run now. Chris McCarron takes a confident peep behind him, and Freehouse kicks for home. Gentleman can't go with him. Touch Gold just did not fire. He's gone. Homeward bound now, and it's Freehouse out in front by a length and a half from Gentleman, and it's Freehouse and Chris McCarron striding home to win the Pacific Classic. Freehouse by 3. Gentleman will be second. Pacific Bounty getting up for third, then Lazy Load. The disappointing Touch Gold was fifth, followed by Puerto Madero. Don't blame Rio. Second last was Urtaness, and Albahar finished last.
Trudy McCaffrey, John Toffin exhilarated. Can he get the 1.25 miles? You bet he can. Scintillating, sensational. Pick your word to describe Freehouse this afternoon. And isn't it ironic that Best Pal, a Calbred, won the first Pacific Classic, and that Freehouse, a 4-year-old Calbred, would come back and win this one? This is a very popular racehorse with fans across the country, and believe me, that the folks that surrounding me here in the grandstand let up a huge roar when Chris McCarron took the lead on the far turn. Chris, congratulations.
Thank you, Numi. Thank you.
Tell us about the trip down the backside. You had Gentleman to contend with. Touch Gold was nowhere to be found.
I was a little happier as we straightened down the backside because around this first turn I was caught about 6 deep and I didn't really want to be there. But I wasn't about to take back and drop him in and to have a chance of getting caught in some traffic somewhere down the backside.
Chris, he had the speed to be in contention at the half-mile pole. These were legitimate fractions for a mile and a quarter. 46, 110 and change. He was so sharp. He was in a perfect position. Touch Gold again. You rode him last year. Any measure of satisfaction that you got the measure of Touch Gold here today?
I'm just very pleased to be on this horse, Bob. I can't tell you can't talk enough about what a great job Paco's done with this guy. I really didn't. I thought Touch Gold was a horse to beat going in, but obviously he didn't run his race today. But I'm certainly happy to be aboard this gray horse. He's a monster.
Congratulations, Chris.
Thanks, Bob.
Chris McCarron has won more stakes here at Del Mar than any other rider in history. Yes, even more than the great Bill Shoemaker. He's added another one today in smashing style aboard Freehouse in the Pacific Classic. Reaction in just a moment. And there's a look at the winner, Chris McCarron aboard Freehouse. This was jockey Pat Day's first run in the Pacific Classic aboard Touch Gold, one I know he'll surely forget. Kenny?
Thanks, Bob. With me is Pat Day. Pat, what happened with Touch Gold today?
I really don't know. He lost his rear end a little bit leaving there. When he come up, he never did get on the bridle, never got into the race. I went ahead and tried to put him into the race going into the wire the first time, and we was in a decent spot around the first turn into the backside, but we wasn't there with any authority. They started to get away from it to 3/8 pole. I put him to task, and there just wasn't nothing there. I just don't think they really cared for the racetrack. He seemed to be fighting it considerably, but otherwise I really don't have any excuse for him.
You think he was okay then? It was just one of those bad days for him on the track?
Yeah, he warmed up fine, and he seemed to come back fine, but he was never comfortable in the body of the race.
Okay, Pat Day, thanks very much. Now let's go upstairs to Trevor.
Let's go down and take a look at the start here. We're looking at Freehouse right now, still in the winner's circle. He got a huge ovation, really a popular winner. Of course, he has such strong California connections. Here's the start again. It was an absolutely perfect start. The gray Freehouse won from the outside, broke in, perfect foul. There you see Urton S now with the white blinkers going to go up to lead them, and down at the rail is Lazy Load. And then another long shot, Albahar coming up in the blue colors, and Gentleman won from the outside. Freehouse, you can see, is caught very wide here, as Chris was saying earlier, a little perturbed that he might be forced wide. And then we have Touch Gold in the black racing in 6th at the rail. He's starting to make good progress right here, but just never seemed to pick it up thereafter. Let's go now to see where the really turning point was. Here it is. Cory Nakatani pushes the button on Gentleman. He goes. But look at Freehouse and Chris McCarron. Just watch Chris McCarron here. This is what makes him such a classy rider. Watch the peak to the left. Right there. He knew, I've got Gentleman beat. Now who's coming? And he looks back, and as you can see from this shot, he just sees hooves way back, reaches back, gives Freehouse one tap. And certainly right here, Chris McCarron knew, I have won the 1998 Pacific Classic. He's riding a game horse, Freehouse, the son of smokes. Look at those ears pinned back. He's looking all around. This is just one class racehorse. He could have gone around again the way he won this afternoon. Bob?
And there's the reaction of Trudy McCaffrey and John Toffin, and they are ecstatic aboard Freehouse. I think they rode him down the stretch. So, Freehouse, Chris McCarron, Trudy McCaffrey, and John Toffin take the Pacific Classic. We'll be back at official with Freehouse. Did not pay $3 to win. He paid $9 to win as the 7-2 third choice. Gentleman completes the $1 exacta of $10, and Longshot Pacific Bounty completes a $1 trifecta of $82. As we take a look at the full order of finish, the running time, a very excellent 2 minutes and change here this afternoon. There's the full order of finish. Lazy Load was 4th. The big disappointments, 2 of them, Puerto Madero, who never kicked in, but neither did the big favorite, Touch Gold. Now let's go to Ken.
Thank you, Bob. I'm with the winning owners, Trudy McCaffrey and John Toffin, and winning trainer, Paco Gonzalez. Congratulations to all. Trudy, when did you think that you had the race won?
Paco turned to me at the quarter pole. He said, Trudy, we got him. We got him. And from then on, I mean, he just looked like he was just galloping out there. He ducked in a little bit. Chris tapped him because Gentleman was coming up. But he asked him once and he was gone. I mean, when I hear Paco say he's confident, I know we're in great shape.
Paco, were you confident coming into this race after the big win in the Bel Air? He had trained so well and was really the hot horse on the backside. Everyone was talking about how impressive he was.
Yes, he was training for this race. I was told John he's training better than going to the Bel Air. You know, he's come up to that race, you know, really good shape. You know, and he was training really good.
It's always good, too, when your jockey, Chris McCarron, was elated with his performance in the Bel Air and was excited about today.
Yes, yes. And then he didn't go and work the horse every time he needs to go and work the horse. And he's not the horse now. Good. You know, it's very important.
We'll take another look here at Freehouse as he goes on to get the victory today. John Toffin, before the race, you said you were just a shade nervous, but you were feeling very confident.
Well, I was feeling confident, but, you know, the big races, anything can happen. When he went by the other horses coming into the quarter pole, I thought we were in good shape. Except he ducked into the rail again, which he usually does, and then he, you know, I mean, I was just overwhelmed, really. Huge race.
Is it too early to make a call on when his next race will be?
I think we're going to think about it for just a little while anyway.
Savor the victory. Okay, thanks very much. Back to you, Bob.
Outcome of today's race. And then, of course, there's always Lady Luck. She's going to have her say in the outcome of this afternoon's result. Let's go right now and take a look at this afternoon's Pacific Classic field. What a powerful entry the 1 and 1A is today. They're both from Dick Mandela's barn. The Chilean-bred Puerto Madero will be coming from behind. Gentleman will be out there on the lead. Either one of them could win it. Number 2, another Argentinian-bred Lazy Load will probably show speed today, but looks to be a notch below the top contenders. The 3 is Pacific Bounty with Eddie Dalahousie, surely a long shot today. Number 4, Touch Gold, perhaps the key to the race here. All the pressure is on jockey Pat Day. Can he stay just off the pace, but still not get himself boxed in, turning for home? Pat Day has a lot of responsibility, but Touch Gold has the class. The 5, Urton S, is really just shooting for the moon today. Number 6, Albahar. Julio Canani, the trainer, spins magic down here at Del Mar, but I don't even think Julio's magic can get Albahar home today. The 7 is the great.
It's the Pacific Classic. It will be run at the purse of $1 million, which means this is our second back-to-back $1 million race that we've had for you in our Racing to the Breeders' Cup Series. It's a race for 3-year-olds and up, and the distance is the Breeders' Cup Classic distance of 1.25 miles. To meet the field for this year's Pacific Classic, the voice of Del Mar Racing, Trevor Denman.
Hard to believe, Bob, but this is my 15th year down at Del Mar. There's that old cliche, time always flies when you're having fun, and one always has a lot of fun down at Del Mar. As far as the track's concerned this afternoon, there is often that platitude that there's a track bias, but often that is just a myth that builds itself into a reality. I don't think there's any track bias at Del Mar this season. They've been winning from the front end, they've been winning from the middle, and some of them have been coming from far back. What I do think is going to be a major factor this afternoon is the pace. A number of the major contenders like to be on or near the lead, and that could prove to be pivotal to the Freehouse. What a hard-hitting individual he is. Perfectly matched with jockey Chris McCarron today. Freehouse is a major contender. And then another huge long shot down the bottom. Number 8, Don't Blame Rio. Really doesn't look to have any chance at all.
As the horses parade around in the beautiful paddock here at Del Mar, a look at the grand old man gentleman, 6 years old, bred in Argentina. By far the most accomplished horse in his field. He's pocketed a cool $3.1 million in purses. He's won 13 of 20. He's lost 3 of his last 4. And he looks to regain that luster with a big win here this afternoon. Of course, trained by Dick Mandela. And we've heard the term three-peat used in sports, particularly in reference to the Chicago Bulls a few years ago. Well, Mandela looks for the three-peat today because leg 1 was a smashing win. This was, of course, Dare and Go, the year 1996, on Saturday, August 29th, to be followed by a look at Skip Away as he will tackle all comers a day later at Monmouth. Let's go back to the paddock and Kenny Rice. Ken.
Thank you, Bob. You're taking a look at Freehouse. He is part of a controversy going on here in California racing. It revolves around a drug called clenbuterol. It is used on horses with respiratory problems. Now, it has been used for decades in Europe and Canada, but wasn't made legal here in the United States until back in May. And that is some of the problem right there. Several states like Kentucky and New York have already come up with ways of testing for this drug. They have a procedure where there is a 7-day withdrawal period. In other words, that horses shouldn't be using this drug 7 days prior to a race. It's a lot like Olympic athletes who are, say, on asthma medicine. They have to quit that before they get ready for their Olympic competition. But here in California, 20 horses or more have tested for this, including Freehouse, after he won the Bel Air Stakes. With me now is respected
at the expense of the Invincible Cigar. This win by Mandela and Darren Go snapped Cigar's 16-race win streak. We'll be back. For last Saturday, it was the Feast of St. Patrick. Jockey Pat Day and trainer Pat Byrne and the horse, well, he was awesome again, winning the Whitney Handicap, beating Julie Crone and Taylor the Cat at Saratoga. Owner Frank Stronach on your left, Byrne on your right, enjoying that one. They might have a magnificent 2-horse entry in the Breeders' Cup Classic if Touch Gold and Awesome Again can continue their form. Awesome Again will likely face Skip Away. We'll have that race for you, the Islin at Monmouth on August 30th. Of course, at Monmouth, speaking of the Jersey Shore, Coronado's Quest, super impressive in Sunday's $1 Million Haskell Invitational, as he was able to beat Belmont Stakes winner Victory Gallop, and that pair expected to meet again in 2 weeks' time at the Midsummer Classic of the East. That would be the Travers Stakes at the Spa.